we begin, it's kind of tough, right? I can try and talk about Hanuman and I can talk about Ram, but if we don't know who we are, it's kind of hard, right? Like if you want to go somewhere, like if I wanted to go to Buffalo. Begin, it's kind of tough, right? Sorry about that. If I wanted to go to the University of Buffalo today, but I didn't know my starting location, I'm not going to have a good GPS, I'm not going to have a plan how to get to where I need to go, right? You need to have the starting location known. So if we don't know who we are as the soul, it's very difficult to have a deep relationship with Ram, Hanuman, Ganesh. If we don't know who they are and we are, it's very difficult to properly associate. Just like some of you have professors, right? And you guys respect your professors, right? Yes. In Indian culture, it's very, honoring the teacher is very prominent. In Western culture, we don't like the teachers so much. We're not grateful. But no problem. But if you respect your professor, but if you don't know they're the professor, you might just assume, oh, you know, and have you ever done that before? You spoke inappropriately to someone and it turns out that they were your authority? Yes, this happens time to time. So it's very important we know who we are. So, in Bhagavad Gita it's mentioned there's three energies of the Lord. There's the Chit Shakti, or the spiritual energy, the internal potency of the Lord. And then there's the Maya Shakti, the external, or the knowledge-covering potency. In this world, the reason we suffer is from the Maya Shakti. It's actually simply because we don't understand who we are and what the problem, what this world actually is. So, the Lord Himself, He's very interested in us associating with the Chit Shakti. We are the third type. We're called Jiva Shakti or Tatastha Shakti. Just like when you go to the riverbank, there's a little spot where the shore meets the river. And at that spot where the shore meets the river, it's called the Tatastha, where it's the marginal space, right in between. So that's actually what we are. We have one foot on the land, one part of ourselves is on the land, and one part of ourselves is in the water. In the Christian philosophy, they say we're in the world, but not of it. Like that. So that's who we are. So Hanuman happens to also be of that Shakti, the Tatastha Shakti. But he has some speciality as well, because he's intimately related with Lord Shiva, a manifestation of Shiva, you've heard like this before. And so in the Vedic Shastras, they say when Shiva is to be honored, he's the Mahadev, actually, especially of this world. When Vishnu, or the Supreme, he touches this world, he comes as Shiva and Parvati, and they rule over this world and all of the material, all the material worlds. So in relation to now, when we have who we are the jivas. The jivas are spirit souls. So we're all spiritual beings. But we're associating with material things. And then sometimes we get lost. And in our blindness, you know, it's a very, did you ever get caught somewhere in the dark before? Yes? Oh my gosh, it's very dark. You're suffering like crazy. Like, please, I just need to get out of here. I need to find some light. That's the material world. We're trying to figure out what is the ultimate solution. And then you have the incarnations of the Lord, the Chit Shakti, and coming and giving the light, and that's who Ram is. But then there's also Hanuman, who is the Bhakta. This is Shiva's speciality. To show what we should do, to lead us in the right direction. And so this is Hanuman. Hanuman is showing us exactly what we should do. He sees Ram, he sees the Supreme, and he knows how to act perfectly. So we could all learn so much from Hanuman, and it's actually my humble attempt today to be inspired by Hanuman's example. And I will not try and make up my own version of Hanuman. We'll just go by the Shastra and by the Ramayana. And we will diagnose, okay, Hanuman and Ram, they did like this, and how is that relevant to our lives? And so that's our great hope. So anyhow, the first, I'm using a source here to just get some pastimes in front of me. But Hanuman was known for always doing his best. You know, in our lives, you know, we make so many efforts at things. If we're really inspired, we make a big effort. If we're not so inspired, we do just enough to get by. Maybe some of you in your classes are doing just enough, right? Yes, some of you are looking, oh, that is me in classes. Some of you are like, yes, no, I'm very determined. Hanuman, he was always doing his best, especially in relation to Ram, because he had such a deep love and affection for Ram. And actually, he's leading us on what we should focus on. Ultimately, this Lord, this is what all should focus on. Even in all Western culture, all Western religions, all the religions are universal in this, that the Lord should be the number one focus. So for Hanuman, this was his conviction, and anything to serve Ram. You know, in the midst of battle, please hop on my back. Ram, Lakshman on his back, fighting Indrajit, so many things like this. When you all know the Ramayana, you know, the pastimes. You know it better than me, actually. You definitely know it better than me. So, you know, they're crossing the ocean. They're all putting the name of Ram, how powerful the Lord's name is. They're putting the name of Ram on the stones, and they're making the stones go. And there's this, actually Ram taught Hanuman a really nice lesson during this pastime. Does anyone know this story? About the little spider? You've heard also in relation with the squirrel, how the squirrel got the 3 marks. So I'll tell about the spider, because you all heard about the squirrel. So Hanuman is throwing giant boulders into the river, writing the name of Ram on it, and they're all floating. And Hanuman is doing like the lion's share of the work. You know, you ever get in a group project and someone is just throwing all the boulders? Yes, you're all like, yes, that happens. Throwing all the boulders, and you're just like kind of hanging around and like, wow, thank you for doing all this work. So this is Hanuman. He's doing the lion's share of the work, as much intensity as he can. But then Hanuman sees a little spider, and he's going up to the shore, and he's pushing some sand into anything that he can into the ocean to try to make the bridge. And so Hanuman says, please get out of the way. You're barely doing anything. Come on, like get out of the way. We have to do the service. You know, don't. And then Ram actually chastised him, lovingly, but he chastised him. And he said, actually, the exact quote, so I don't botch it. Give up your pride. We have a class every morning at our ashram, and this is actually our biggest problem: is pride. We get very, very proud of our very small and insignificant nature in this world. But we get very, very proud of the silliest little things. You know, our modern science, it shows us how small we are. You know, how big our universe is and how really insignificant we are. But yet somehow or other we get so proud of so many things. So anyhow, Ram and Hanuman are, in this Leela, are teaching us how to give up our pride. And he said the spider's devotional service, or the spider's bhakti, is just as satisfying to me as yours. You are serving me according to your capacity, and he is serving me according to his capacity. Meaning, there's a couple things. First, everyone has something to offer. You're familiar with bhakti? Yes. What is the main teaching that is promoting bhakti, especially here for this age? Yes. But what I'm talking about, the scriptural teaching.
Service.
Yes. What scripture is this all very, very relevant in? I'll give you a hint. It's probably in every one of your homes. Bhagavad Gita. Yes, this is the prime teaching of Bhagavad Gita, is bhakti, right? Of all karma, bhakti is the highest karma. Of all jnana, bhakti is the highest jnana. Of all yoga, mysticism, bhakti is the highest yoga. So Krishna is teaching that. He gives the foundational teachings and he teaches bhakti. So Hanuman is actually the epitome. He is the topmost of what's called dasya ras, or bhakti in the mood of servitude. I don't want to get too deep, or I don't want to fly over people's head, but you've heard of rasa tattva before? Heard of the different rasas, the different relationships of bhakti you can have with the Lord? So anyhow, Hanuman is Dasyaras. He is the OG Ramdas. I'm just trying to fill his giant footsteps right now, but I cannot. I'm a little pebble. But as he's throwing huge mountains into the bridge, I'm like the spider trying to push in a few grains of sand, and hopefully you guys pick up a grain of sand. So we all have something to offer, every one of us. We all have something that we can offer in bhakti. No one is ineligible to be a bhakta, even a little spider or a little squirrel. Anybody can do some bhakti. This is an act of bhakti here, to have a puja, to celebrate. This is actually one of the limbs of bhakti. There's 64 limbs of bhakti. And one of the limbs is observing the festivals and appearance days of the Lord and His devotees. So look, University of Buffalo has done. This is a limb of bhakti. So you guys can all... Yes. This is very good. And hopefully you have many, many more observances in this way. So anything we can do, no matter how small, this is good. And the Lord is very satisfied with such things. Rama is very satisfied. And the second is that we should strive to do our best for the Lord. You know, it has to do with our capacity, but we should never diminish someone else's service. If someone else's service isn't as great, get rid of our pride. Think, oh, look, oh my gosh, look at your meager service. I'm like this. But compared to Hanuman, we're all like this little spider, you know. We should get rid of our pride. And actually the Lord, He's not interested. He creates all the universes, He destroys them as well, and He maintains them. He doesn't really need our service. What He's actually looking for, does anyone know? I'll give you a hint. It's what the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita is. What's He want? Okay, one of the ashram boys. He wants your bhakti. That's what He wants. He wants your love. You know, we offer Him fruits, we offer Him this and that. He has as many fruit trees as you can imagine. He doesn't need our fruits, but what's He want? He wants the love. You know, did you ever hear the story of Ram's future incarnation? Do you know when Ram next came to this world? Do you know what his name was? Yeah, it's Krishna. Have you ever heard the story of when Krishna visited Vidura? Yes. So he was coming as a messenger to preach peace. Before the Bhagavad Gita happened, there was trying a peace attempt. So Duryodhana wanted to host him, and he made him a big elaborate feast. And there's so many nice things, all that royalty can happen. But because Duryodhana didn't want to give any real love, and actually he was in his mind thinking about how he can sabotage and capture Krishna, Krishna didn't want to accept anything. He said, no, I will not stay with you. You don't please me at all. I'm going to Vidura's house. Vidura is my bhakta. So he goes to Vidura's house, but Vidura is not yet there. But Vidurani is there, Vidura's wife. And Vidurani is so much in ecstasy to see Krishna there that she is just scrambling anything that she can get and offer to the Lord, she's giving Him. And she's such in ecstasy seeing the Lord, she's crying, and she's peeling bananas. And then she throws away the banana and then starts feeding Krishna the banana peels. And just shoving banana peels. You ever eat a banana peel? You know kela, this banana, right? You ever eat the banana peel? You can actually make the banana peel into a sabji and it's okay. But you don't eat a raw banana peel. It does not taste good. But for whatever she is, with so much love, because out of so much affection, she can't even see or think straight. She's feeding Krishna the banana peels. And he loves it. He loves the banana peels. Why? Because it has nothing to do with the actual physical senses. It has to do with the love. This is what the Lord wants. This is what the Lord wants from us. And Hanuman is actually, in Ram Leela, he's the lead. He's the leading charge of this. So this is our humble hope is to inspire everyone towards bhakti. And we've seen it in our lives. If you're feeling maybe a lack of purpose, a little bit of cloudy in your life, not feeling so inspired, try some bhakti, because that's what makes everyone happy. The example is given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. How much time do I have, by the way? Give me a time limit or I will speak all night.
We're doing well on time. It's only been like 45 minutes.
Okay. So what time should I shut up?
We have the room. You I mean,
Go
if,
ahead.
yeah,
Keep
talking.
Alright,
If I feel like
I'll try to. You guys rein me in, okay? You know my tendencies. So, so the Lord wants our bhakti. That's if you're looking for inspiration, this is the recommendation. Bhagavad Gita, this is the main teaching. This is how we're all going to feel satisfied. And Hanuman is the epitome of that. He is showing us exactly what to do. He's even though he's so strong and ferocious. Also, an interesting thing about Hanuman, he often gets angry. You know, who has heard that anger is a good quality? No one. Everyone says anger. But who says anger is a bad quality? A couple of people said. This is very good. Who thinks anger depends? Yes, it does depend, right? So if somebody came in here, I don't want to joke about this, but if somebody came in here with a weapon or something, but our good friend over there in the blue, he was hiding behind a desk, and when the person tried to hurt someone else, he went behind him with some bludgeon and he beat his head down. We actually would celebrate that person for saving everyone. Even though he got angry and he exerted violence, he actually did a good thing for everyone. He protected so many people. That's what Kshatriya means, is to offer protection. That's what a true Kshatriya, like a true police officer, a militant officer, things like that. So Hanuman actually was showing how to properly use anger. How to properly use anger. So what are the two, do you know what the two things that are how to properly use anger? I'll tell you, because it's not maybe so common knowledge. Anger, this is per the Vedic Shastra. When Dharma is breached, it's actually proper to be angry. It's proper to, there's appropriate anger, not to say we should go on killing sprees because Dharma was breached in a certain place. But we should voice disapproval. And if it's continued that Dharma is a certain party is continuing to break Dharma and to be even more adharmic, like for instance Duryodhana, his side in the Bhagavad Gita, it was actually the right thing to do. That's why Arjuna told Arjuna to fight. He didn't tell him, well, just tolerate and, just go be a yogi in the forest and just deal with it. No, we have to fight for Dharma. Ram, he is the personality of Dharma, showing us in every single way, even when it's wildly uncomfortable. All the later pastimes of Ram, sending Sita to the forest, all these really, oh my gosh, how could this happen in Ramayana? But actually, when you evaluate the Dharma, he was following everything to a T, even when it was so uncomfortable, even when it was seemingly unjustified in every other way. So, the ultimate adharma is when the Lord is blasphemed, and then when the bhakta is blasphemed. That's the ultimate adharma. So this is actually the proper use of anger. And this is, of course, what Hanuman did every step of the way. Ravan, he had stolen Sita. Many say it's the Chaya Sita, or that Sita herself is a divine being and not able to be touched by anything material. So there's, I don't want to get into it, but there's pastimes to show that the real Sita disappeared as soon as she crossed the line and went to Agni's abode, and that's why he brought her back when she entered the fire at the end. But anyhow, Ravan at least thought, I have Sita, I have stolen Sita. But look at, this is a very big problem. Sita is representation of this world, is opulence. We all are chasing opulence in one way or another. In some way or other, sometimes we can be like little mini Ravanas, not trying to necessarily steal some lady, but maybe trying to work our way to get some position, to get some wealth, to get some power, some prestige. So all these things, sometimes. But Hanuman is showing always what is the essence, and it's devotion, it's bhakti. So some other really nice katha or some nice pastimes. Right before, when Hanuman jumped over the ocean to Lanka, even though he was so strong, so ferocious, and wanted to burn down the whole thing, he wanted to make sure that Sita was okay. He wanted to care for Ram's Sita. So Hanuman was, you know the pastime. He started singing the glories of Ram and Sita's. She couldn't even believe it and asked her to prove that this is you. Are you really for Ram? And he shows her the items from Ram. So he's very caring. This is the heart of a bhakta. Even though you can be so strong and you can do so many things to serve, that we're still caring, we're still loving. Like this. This is a very funny story. Hanuman is so simple. He's so simple. He's one, it's called Bhaktiyaika Yesham. He is one-pointed bhakti unto Ram. And at all costs. And this story is very cute. You've heard the Sindor story? Right? When the war is over and Sita is reclaimed and Ravan is killed. No, that's not true. Not when the war is over. After Hanuman burns down Lanka to a certain point, you've heard after this, he burns down Lanka and he's ready to return. He goes and checks in on Sita and he sees Sita is putting on the sindoor. And he says, Mother, what is this? Why do you do like this? And she says, oh, well, if I do this, it offers Ram a long life and protection. So Hanuman, he sees that, he said, well, she's just giving a little sindoor like this. If I cover my whole body in sindoor, then Ram will have so much long life and protection. So right before he jumps back across the ocean, he covers himself in all the sindoor that he can find. And he's like some red monkey. And still to this day, when they worship Hanuman in India, they put sindoor on Hanuman. Is that correct? So like this, the devotee is simple. They're not trying to think of so many complicated things. The devotee is, how can I be of service? And what can I do that's pleasing to Ram? And if you've ever seen in your life, even when people try to serve you, and, especially like a child, like you ever have like a little child and they like pick something up on the ground and they want to offer you some rock or something? Oh, thank you so much. You don't care about the rock. You're not going to use the rock, but you're so charmed. They wanted to serve. So we're all like little babies, trying to offer. Like our puja, we're doing the puja. It's not like the Lord's like, yes, that was the best items ever. Thank you so much for going to the Indian store and grabbing me these items. Right? That's not exactly, the Lord doesn't necessarily need to go to the India store, but He's seeing our attempts to offer. He's seeing our attempts. So Hanuman is giving this. And then the last thing is that Hanuman is always chanting the Lord's name. Always chanting. Actually, it's said that he will stay in this world as long as the Lord's name is chanted. He will continue chanting. There's many wonderful pastimes about this. There's a Purana that in Krishna's time, in Dwarka, Hanuman was sitting chanting the names of Ram, and Krishna was in Dwarka, and Garuda would often visit him. You know Garuda? Yes. So Garuda would visit Krishna, and he said, Krishna, can I get you anything? Because sometimes Krishna would mount Garuda and they would go fight, Like one time he brought Satyabhama and killed Narakasura, and so on like this. And so Krishna says, yes, I want to see my devotee Hanuman. Please go send for him and tell him that I am coming. So Garuda goes to Hanuman, and Hanuman's just chanting the name of Ram, 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 like this. There's many stories to the pastimes of Ram. And so he's chanting the names of Ram. And ultimately, he's not paying attention to Garuda. Garuda is saying, Krishna he's looking for you, please. He's my worship. He's our worshipful Lord. And Hanuman is just happy. He's chanting the names of Ram. So then Garuda, he goes back to Krishna. He's not paying attention at all. He's just chanting. He says, no. Go back and tell him that Lord Ram is asking for him. So Garuda goes back and he tells Hanuman, Hanuman, your Lord Sri Ram, he's requesting you, he's in Dwarka. So Garuda turns around and he starts flying back to Dwarka to report to Krishna. And next thing you know, he sees Hanuman coming back. And he says, wait, how did you get here? I just saw you back there. And Hanuman's, no, I went. As soon as you told me Ram was coming, I went and I talked with him, I served him, and now I'm on my way back and he's given me instruction. And so Garuda is just flabbergasted. How could this have happened? I just turned around. I just was this. But this is actually the potency of Hanuman. He's always eager to serve. It's with such an intensity. So my conclusion is I hope you can find it in your heart to develop this inclination towards service. Actually, this is what will nourish us. In the Bhagavatam, you know Srimad Bhagavatam, you know these Bhagavad Saptahas, you know. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's compared that we are like the leaf of a tree. So when the leaf of the tree is connected to the tree, connected to the twigs, the branches, all the way down to the root, it's nourished. But say the leaf of the tree, if it's smart, it's not trying to take all the water for itself. I want this for me, I want that. Give me all the water, I want my water. Right? But it knows that give the water to the root and everything will be nourished. Yes, even, I grew up Christian. So oftentimes I look for parallels in Sanatan Dharma and the Christian Dharma I grew up with. And actually there are so many. Many people, Jesus had gone to India even for the 18 years he was missing in the Bible. There's many in Pakistan. There's places where it said that Jesus is even buried. There's really wild things like that. But anyhow, that's not for today. But the point is that if we're like the leaf of a tree, sometimes we separate ourselves from our source. From the source of our bhakti, from the Creator. And we try to enjoy ourselves. No, everything is for my enjoyment. Let me try and enjoy like this, let me enjoy like that. And then what happens to a leaf when it's removed from the tree, from its source? It dies. Yeah, it withers and dies. So similarly, all that we try to enjoy in this world, unfortunately, will wither and die. I don't mean to be morbid. But you've seen it all before, you know, our forefathers, and then eventually us, and then eventually our children, and so on. That's the nature of the things of this world. It'll all wither and die. But bhakti, that will always carry on. That's our root. That's what keeps us going lifetime after lifetime. Yes, we accrue karma, but ultimately we go to where we can learn the next lessons to advance in this teaching. And then ultimately we don't have to keep coming into this predicament. You know, there's a hope. All the spiritual traditions there's a loka that you can go to that is better than the current situation. All spiritual traditions are saying like this. So for instance, when Ram and all his associates left this world, you know, the whole of Ayodhya, they went to the heavenly realms. It said that there is an Ayodhya in the spiritual world, and all of Ram's bhaktas go there. And interestingly enough, Hanuman didn't go. Why? Because Ram had a very important service for Hanuman. Even though Hanuman wanted nothing more than to be with Ram and to go with Ram. But even more important, Ram had him stay here to always chant his glories and always to be here as long as his glories are being chanted. And so Hanuman is the impetus today. In Syracuse or Buffalo, the exact tithi will fall tomorrow. But in India, the appearance day of Hanuman, it's happening right now. So, Jai Hanuman? Jai Hanuman. Maybe I'll stop here, but maybe you have some questions or any discussion points, comments, anything like that? Yes. And your name first.
Hi, I'm Ayub. I'm a board member of this group.
Hi.
So I just want to ask you, what is this like bhakti you speak of, like I have read the Gita, and like it tells you that to be a true bhakt, you have to like get rid of yourself of like all the thoughts or the distractions that you have, and you just like focus on doing a work without any fruits.
Huh.
That is one way to attain, I think, to attain enlightenment, and another is to like meditate. So like when you say that we have to be a bhakt, when you say that we have to be,
Yes.
we have to love God. Like, are you saying that when we do some task, like we have to like remember Him or something?
Well,
Or we have to do it for Him. We have to. I just want to know.
do you want to answer?
Well, I don't know fully, but I know that there's like different forms of services. There's like even something simple as chanting, even involving yourself in eating prasadam is also a form of like service. So when they mention doing like being a bhakti, it's like just devoting yourself in any selfless service to the Lord, such as chanting, remembering. Just something like that. So I think that's what it means about like being bhakti. And then in the Gita it also mentions like, how to get rid of like pride, and then like being tolerant as like a blade of grass is how they describe it. So I think those are ways of reaching bhakti.
Yeah, that was really good. What's your name?
Sulata.
Sulata. So if I can just maybe offer, there's many tiers of teachings in the Bhagavad Gita. You spoke of karma yoga, not being attached to the fruits of your activities. I heard something about dhyana yoga as well, meditation. So there are tiers of teachings Krishna gives in the Bhagavad Gita, but the conclusion is found in the 9th chapter and the 18th chapter. And these two lines are used twice. Man mana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru. So, to always think of me, to always offer our consciousness, our chitta, unto the Supreme, unto the Lord. So this is the first teaching of bhakti, but it's not easy actually. It's really actually not easy to do this because we get so distracted and so many things happen. It's very difficult to do this. But to become my devotee, mad bhakto, manmana bhava mad bhakto, to offer your whole sentiment in my devotion. So this is the recommendation. But that's not even very easy. It's a lot to become to become a devotee. There's many, many rules and regulations and things that one would follow. Like if you study Bhagavad Gita, we brought some Bhagavad Gitas. You feel free to grab a copy. You can know exactly the recommendations. But that's not also very easy. Madhyaji, yaji is like yagya, offering your sacrifices. Maybe you can offer some puja or something like that. There's different sacrifices that you can do. Today's a yagya. You're observing a festival, a Jayanti festival or a Ram Navami festival. So like these are things you can do. And then this is the easiest one of this essence teaching, namaskaru. Just to offer your obeisances, just to think of the Lord, bow before the Lord. Maybe you have a murti of the Lord, to regularly offer one's obeisances of the Lord and think of the Lord in that way. So this is what it means to do bhakti. And she was mentioning different types of bhakti. You've all heard of Prahlad Maharaj? Yes, so Prahlad Maharaj actually teaches us the 9 processes of bhakti. Would you like to hear them? Do you want to know what they are? I won't go into detail on all of them, but I can just chant the shloka so you can have an idea. It's Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakyam Atma Nivedanam. So the first 3 we'll talk about is most important. Shravanam, what you're doing right now is actually bhakti. If you're hearing about the pastimes of the Lord, if you're hearing about His glories, His names, His fames, glories, qualities, anything like that, that's Shravanam. That's a process of bhakti. That's what we should do. We should do everything in relationship to the Lord. This is bhakti. Anything else is not quite bhakti. Maybe there's some element of bhakti in it, but it's not quite exclusive bhakti. So if you want to know more about bhakti, you try and relate what you're doing to the Lord. So the first thing, hearing. Second thing is kirtanam, is to glorify, to share, to chant. And by doing this, actually, I have the good fortune of doing kirtan right now. I'm glorifying the Lord. I'm telling pastime of the Lord or the teachings of the Lord and so on. And this will allow you to do that Vishnu Smaranam, which was the next part, to actually remember the Lord. So these are all the processes of bhakti. It's not so much physical activity. It is in some sense. But the main essence is that you hear. You should hear about the Lord, and then you should share that with others. And then that'll allow you to remember, and then archanam, maybe some puja, some forms of worship will be inspired. Vandanam, you'll start composing prayers. Dasyam, you'll feel like Hanuman, like, I want to serve the Lord. I want to do service to God. Sakyam, actually after so much time, you'll actually feel an intimate friendship with God. You'll feel that God is really the true friend. And all other friends that we have they're little aspects of God, and I want to serve them because this is ultimately my service to God. And then Atma Nivedanam is so fully surrendered. So these are the processes of bhakti. These are the 9 basic one, and within them there's actually 64 processes of bhakti. Actually, there's a book back there called The Nectar of Devotion. In that, all 64 limbs of bhakti are given in detail. So if you really want, you could talk to Rishi back there, and he can maybe show you that. But is that helpful? Yes. Anything? Yes. What is your name? Viraj. I like your style, Viraj. I grew up a Yankees fan, so no problem.
I'm kind of just building off of what you said earlier.
Mm-hmm.
You were speaking about bhakti. I've learned that like dharma is like more of like the meaning is like your purpose and what you have to do. So would you say that bhakti and dharma are almost like interchangeable? Like when you're performing like your dharma, you're also doing bhakti?
Not interchangeable, but they're connected. So dharma is like, there's a reason that Ram Lila came before Krishna Lila. Ram Lila is all about establishing dharma in every circumstance. Krishna Lila is how to kind of build that to the next level. And so there's a reason at the end, after that verse I just said, right after the next verse is Sarva Dharman Parityajya. He actually says, abandon all dharma and just surrender unto me. Why? Because you actually would acquire a higher dharma. This is called Bhagavat Dharma. So, but in the beginning, when we maybe have very little bhakti, it's perfect to do one's dharma. So let's just say you're born. What does your dad do?
He's a project manager.
He's a project manager. And let's just say you're in the business of also managing projects, and you do so following all the codes of dharma. This is perfect. Perfect place to start. But as you also are managing your dharma and your duties of this world, you might develop some inclination towards the Lord and how you can ultimately deepen your connection. At some point, our dharma changes, right? Your dad will not even be managing projects, I can imagine, not too much longer. Because at some point they're retiring. That's part of the Varnashram Dharma. You would take retired life. And then you'd prepare to actually transition the body. So our dharmas change, but one dharma never changes, and that's our Bhagavat Dharma, our dharma unto the Lord. So we all have this dharma. Many, maybe even most, don't really get to touch too much into it in this lifetime. But if one is fortunate, they can be awakened to Bhagavat Dharma. And that's actually our humble job, is to awaken people to the realization of Ram, of God, and us as hopefully the Ram Dasas, or the servants of God. Yeah, it's a popular idea that, yes, well, I'm just doing this, so I can just do this and think about God. Yes, very good. Step 1, complete. Great. But there is more to be done. If you want to take that to the next level, it's totally there. And for many years, you can go on like this and keep advancing. Even externally, it looks like you're doing what anyone else in the world is doing. You're going to work, you're supporting a family, you're doing this, that, and the other. But internally, and maybe in one's own personal practices, some real bhakti is being cultivated. Maybe you've, in your free time, instead of watching Netflix and chilling, like this, maybe you'll chant some japa, Harinam, the names of God. Maybe in your free time you'll read like Bhagavad Gita and things like this, or instead of going out to the bar or going out to the rave or something like that, I'm going to go visit the temple, or these are different activities. These are bhakti activities, right? Yes, you and your coworkers might be doing the same thing for 8 hours a day, every day. But when you go home, you might be able to do bhakti, and it's very likely that most of your coworkers will not. They will just be trying to be enjoying something that they will not ultimately be able to enjoy. So they're not interchangeable, but it's connected. If one does one's dharma sincerely, it leads one to bhakti. It builds what's called sukriti. And then you can actually... so somehow or other, the sukriti of Buffalo has reached a pinnacle now where somehow or other some bhakti is being talked about in Buffalo. And then some bhakti activities are happening here. And we're fortunate to come and find the bhakti activities. So some sukriti is already being built here, and anyone who's participating in these has the eligible sukriti to attend and hear. Now what you all do with that, the next steps, that we'll see. But is that helpful?
Yes, thank you.
You're very welcome. All right. One more just before. How many more questions is appropriate?
Probably like 1 or 2 more.
Okay, we'll do 1 or 2 more. Yes.
As I was saying before that, I read that there are multiple routes to ultimate enlightenment.
Yes.
The ultimate state that a human can go if he is into bhakti.
Yes.
So are you saying that we have to follow more than one of those routes? Because there was explicitly mentioned that if you are, you just have to do your job. If you're a kshatriya, for example, if I'm a computer scientist, for example, I'm
Yes.
studying computer science, and it's my duty to perform that best way I can. I'm not talking about kshatriya. I am a kshatriya, but I'm not talking about having wars with someone, because it's not the age. But
Yes.
I just want to know, if I keep doing my work, like he said, that would it just lead to ultimate enlightenment, or I still would have to read the literature that you have, other than Bhagavad Gita, to actually help in the process?
Well, naturally, like I was explaining to him, that your dharma is dharma means that which sustains one's life. So dharma is that which sustains one. So even doing good, pious activities is what sustains us and sustains all others around us. So your dharma is doing computer science for this stage of your life. No problem. And you may have someone else next to you also, their dharma is doing computer science. You might both be proficient in computer science. But it's not that the computer science will necessarily lead to your enlightenment. But what will lead to your enlightenment is in the midst of doing your dharma as a computer scientist, in your free time, because you'll inevitably get free from that duty. You won't always be practicing computer science, not from the moment you open your eyes to the moment you shut them at night. You can actually take to the process of enlightening oneself through maybe say, understanding the teachings of Ramayana, or understanding the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, or understanding the intricate pastimes of the Lord in Srimad Bhagavatam. Or even better is if you meet a qualified spiritual personality that you can hear from them regularly, and you can learn the lessons that they can impart. And they can actually help awaken and help you move forward on the path of devotion or the path of bhakti. So this is the best thing. Right now you have free time. Somehow or other you've come, I don't even know if you were expecting to hear any Bhagavad Katha, but somehow or other you've heard, and maybe you're inspired to do bhakti. There's a really nice boy here, Rishi. He was with us for a long time. Not a long time, but he was with us for a year or so at our ashram. And in his free time and from being a student, he was coming and he was with us. And then at some point it was time for him to get a job. He was trying to get a job all along, but it wasn't so easy. But he got a job. And then actually he ended up coming back to us every few weeks because he was feeling, it's difficult just to get thrown into the work world and not have a lot of bhakti around him. So actually it was his idea to contact, he actually went on our Instagram account and he contacted Samanvita. And I'm very grateful that he did. And why? Because he's looking for others who are also interested in bhakti and can actually practice some of these processes of bhakti. And it's better to do it with others than to try and do all these things alone. It's very much recommended. In Bhagavatam it said the main dharma, or the yuga dharma, of this age is Sankirtan Yagya. So San is in a group, Satsang, Sangha, you've done it already, Sangha is here. And now the next aspect is Kirtan. Kirtan doesn't just necessarily mean chanting the names of God or singing the names of God. That is a very, very crucial aspect of it. But Kirtan, in its root, it means to glorify the Lord. So Harikatha, then the glorious names of the Lord, and it makes Harikatha, makes the Lord's name so much sweeter because you can relate certain aspects of the Lord's fame, His qualities, and His pastimes to the name. So like this, but yes, you'll not be enlightened just doing computer science, nor will you be enlightened just being an army officer or a data analyst or a garbage collector or any of these jobs in this world. You'll be enlightened when you seek enlightenment. And somebody who's enlightened, actually, somehow or other, you connect with them and they can help you. But that's the only way to get enlightened, is to find somebody who's already enlightened, and they've gotten enlightened, and it comes down from the Lord Himself. That's what's called the parampara. Why did Krishna come to teach Bhagavad Gita? He told Arjuna that this teaching was lost, and so I've come to re-establish this. So even if it gets lost and nobody knows how to be enlightened anymore, the Lord will personally come and reawaken this teaching. Or He'll send His representative, or His son. And it doesn't have to be in just India. It can happen in Israel. It can happen in all parts of the world. And it has happened. So, but yeah, I would say keep doing your dharma, keep doing your computer science, but also in your free time, take some interest in how maybe some bhakti. If you take a book, it'll tell you so many things.
The higher taste.
And that? You'll get a higher taste. I wouldn't recommend that book. What's that?
Try the higher taste.
Yeah, so like that might be a good one too. But anyhow, I think that will be the last question. So, all right, thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
So what is on the program now? Hanuman Chalisa?